Kevin here, and today I would like to introduce a new theme to my channel, and it is the area of personal finance. This is an area that is very important to me and something that I'm very passionate about. So you will be seeing a lot of videos in the future about my opinion on how to manage your money. This specific video is about 3 stocks that I am heavily invested in at the moment and why I chose them. 2 of the 3 stocks are fairly pretty popular because they've been in the news lately, but the last one I think will do really well. I do currently have 75% of my money in the stock market, and some of you may be thinking that this is crazy for me to invest such a huge amount in my portfolio, but I do have about 3 years of experience investing in the market on and off, so I am comfortable investing in this amount at this time. And the reason why I'm investing so much is I think this is one of the best times to be invested in the stock market when everything is so cheap or discounted. I don't recommend for you to be investing this type of money, but I do also have to tell you that 50% of my investments are in relatively low cost and safe index funds. So in actuality, I'm only investing about 37.5% of my money in American companies. And very quickly, before I mention the 3 stocks, I do want to mention the 3 index funds that I'm invested in. And these act as sort of a safety net for in case the companies that I invest in drop in value. Now, the first stock I want to talk about is Delta, ticker symbol DAL. This stock was brought into the spotlight when Warren Buffett made a huge purchase on February 27th. He bought about 1 million shares of Delta for an average price of $46.40. Now, Berkshire Hathaway owned about 11.2% shares of Delta at the time. But more recently, on April 3rd, 2020, the company did end up selling 13 million Delta shares. Now, people on the internet have been trying to speculate why Warren Buffett may have made this huge trade. Now, some people are saying that he may have done this to cut losses and also harvest the tax benefits of losing money on trading a stock. The other reason why a lot of people are saying that he may have sold the stock is because he wants to be under the 10% threshold as a major stakeholder in a company so that he doesn't publicly have to report any trades. I do think Warren Buffett has his eyes on something that's a lot bigger, a much bigger investment. And that's the reason why he freed up the capital. Personally, I have a 9.61% diversification on Delta with an average cost about $24.90 is when I bought in. The reason why I chose Delta as an investment is because Delta owns about 17% of the American US airline market. But more importantly, it is the #1 rated airline out of all the US airlines. And in addition to that, Delta also has very strong financials. It also benefits from the recent $50 billion stimulus package in the form of a bailout from the government. As a value investor, I believe that airlines will always be essential for business travel and family members who have family in different states or families overseas. No matter what is going on, they're always going to visit family at some point in time, and so those sales will always be there. Now, the second stock I would like to talk about is Boeing. And Boeing's always had a very strong financial background over the years, except for the last quarter where they were down $6.2 million. But the quarter before that, they were at a net income of $10.4 billion with a B. While it's not exactly clear how much Boeing will be getting from the federal government, there is a part of that $2 trillion stimulus package that included a $17 billion funding for companies who are critical to national defense. And Boeing gets 1/3 of its revenue from the federal government. There's a strong reason to invest in this company because Americans are so big on defense, as we all know. 50% of their revenue is based on commercial airlines, and I've already explained why. That is also a sector that is worth investing into. And the last 20% is based on global services. Also, do note that Boeing is one of the companies out of 30 that are in the Dow Jones Index, or the DJI. And all of the companies in that list are generally very large and well-respected companies. For all of those reasons, I have invested about 10.23% of my portfolio in Boeing at an average share cost of $127.84. Now, the last company I invested in that hasn't really been mentioned in the news is MGM, which also happens to be the ticker symbol for the company. I have about 11.56% of my portfolio in MGM at an average cost of $13.57. MGM owns 50% of the city center in Las Vegas, and this includes 30 high-end hotels and casinos on the strip. This means that MGM generates a huge chunk of revenue for Las Vegas, and for that reason, I chose to be an investor. As someone who has visited the city for family, business, and personal travel, I believe MGM is an essential part of Las Vegas. Recently, there was also a report of a number of executives of MGM who bought a substantial amount of discounted shares, with the director, Keith Meister, paying about $18.7 million from March 30th to April 1st for a total of 1.6 million shares of MGM. MGM also owns properties in Macau, which have already reopened its hotels and casinos. The last reason I chose to invest in MGM is because roughly 3% of gamblers are addicted, meaning they have very little control of their visits to casinos. That basically means that MGM will always have about 3% of their normal sales at the very minimum. Now, if you include about 5% of the population who aren't addicted, you might be looking around 8% of sales that will be consistent of what they normally have. That pretty much concludes this video. I increased all my positions earlier today, so I won't be making any more stock purchases for a month, if at all. I do think a second wave of the Rona will hit, and if the markets tank at that point, I will still have 25% cash to redeploy into the stock market. After the second wave, I think we will be close to a mass-produced vaccine or have highly effective treatments to put the Rona behind us completely. It's Kevin here, and thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more videos about personal finance and investing. And I will see you guys in the next one.